You guys good in the back? Good. All right, Kim, do you want to start us off again?
So your pitching staff, you'll have several this year who weren't in last year, but I especially want to know about the ones who were injured, Ryan, Sid, Devin. Where are they as far as how healthy, as far as recovering from being away? That's
We have all eight. All eight are cleared, healthy, ready to go. That feels great to say. In January, it was a different place last January. Devin looks great. I think she probably got healthy, the earliest as far as was kind of able to get back to 100% a little bit faster than the others. Ryan was still working through her rehab process throughout the fall. We feel like she's in a really good place now. Same with Sydney. So just excited to see what they can do and excited to have a whole lot of options this year.
The players were saying that because you have so many different pitchers, kind of keeps them off balance, makes it difficult for them. Do you think that that's something that you can bring into games and that kind of pitching by committee can be an effective weapon for you?
I think it works for us in two ways, honestly. Just like you said, us keeping our hitters off balance right now is preparing our hitters for adjustments throughout the spring, which is very cool. It's pretty rare to see that many different looks throughout our inter-squad scrimmages. Sometimes you just get used to a couple or a few and then have to roll in and see a whole lot of looks. So on the hitter side, I think it's super helpful for us. And yes, I think we have a Major League Baseball bullpen mentality where matchups are so important this year. Being able to keep people fresh is going to be really important this year. So just excited about those. And they've really bought into, Christian and having a role in the pitching staff versus just, going out there and winning innings. It's more so each person has a job to do.
For fans that are going to pick up the roster and see 8 pitchers, how would you best describe to them how we got to this point?
Well, when you have red shirts, everything, people transfer, Devin's senior year would have been last year, so we would have had, a different number. When we saw Saya in the portal, that was exciting for us because it's something that we don't have in the bullpen. So we're constantly trying to build just something that looks different, something that keeps hitters uncomfortable. And I think that's the biggest thing for us is, when people start to get settled at the plate, we're going to have a new look. And someone's going to constantly be ready to come into that game. But I've been most just encouraged with how competitive they are. They all want the ball in those moments. So that's exciting. And they're going against a tough offensive lineup every single day in our inner squads. And we'll be very happy on Thursday to play somebody else.
Ideal number moving forward? Is there a lower? Obviously with Devin coming back unexpectedly, obviously, but is there an ideal number in terms of pitchers that you think you'll carry?
No, I don't think so. The days are gone when it's 2 to 3 pitchers. I think everyone would like to say that they have 4 or more that they can go to, and we play. Looking at our schedule, 5 or 6 games a weekend pre-conference. So I think the load of those weekends and being able to keep the people you want to keep fresh for postseason and a conference season is just as important as having those different looks.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but obviously college softball has a pretty hectic schedule. So heading into the Big 12, we're making trips that are maybe a little bit farther than you would in the Pac-12. What are your thoughts on that?
We're excited for the challenge of it, honestly, and we don't have, we have a tough schedule this year, but not much tougher than what we would have traveled in the Pac-12 as far as distance goes, and the weather is going to be similar to going to a Utah and playing in the snow occasionally, but we're excited for the new cities, new challenges, new competitive teams that we're going to see, and when you look at that conference top to bottom, it should very much so prepare us for the postseason after it.
Pre-conference is pretty tough this year, but you got a lot of former Pac-12 teams in. Was that something you were looking to do explicitly, or was it just that you wanted good teams and they were available?
Well, we know just, what kind of games those are, by playing those teams in conference every year. They're uber competitive. We're going to face some of the best offenses, defenses, and we knew we needed that preparation going into the Big 12 and going into the postseason. So very important for us to also just maintain those relationships, I think. And we were able to get 3, I think, this year, and we're hoping to continue that in the future. It's actually been kind of nice because having West Coast teams, it's easier for those teams to come to us. It's easier for us to get to them. So that's been nice as far as scheduling goes and being able to get good competition at our home field.
And getting two against all of them except for UCLA, I mean, that's a little bit different this year. I don't remember you often playing the same team twice in those tournaments. Is that something that you'll see more going forward, is playing the top team twice?
Yes, and it's hard. It's hard. You know, it's tough to schedule and get teams to come to you. And you know, Lauren Lappin does a great job of scheduling every year as far as reaching out and getting good competition at the tournaments. And then just it goes according to who we can get in, and then we schedule out appropriately. So with getting a good mix of some really good RPI teams pre-conference is going to be nice.
The girls were kind of all on the same page with Oklahoma State maybe being the new rival in the Big 12. Who do you think is going to be the new rival?
I think there's going to be a lot of competitive series, honestly. But yes, Oklahoma State, I think because we faced them for a few years now, and then ending the way we did last year, of course. And then Texas Tech, right? I mean, made big moves in the offseason, and we're going to have one of the best pitchers in the conference again, which is exciting for us. It's exciting for us to face the best competition to get prepared for the postseason. So, you know, Baylor's tough, BYU's tough. Everybody brings something, and they had a whole lot of surprises against some really good teams last year, taking Oklahoma down in those situations. So we're excited about it. I think we won't know until we get into it and see what happens. But yeah, just excited for the chance.
What are some of the ways that Reagan Shockey is able to use her speed as a weapon?
I mean, how does she not use her speed? I think is the question. I think defensively, tracking balls down. I mean, bunting, slapping. She's developed some pop this year, which she's just, you know, been working on throughout last year and this year. She just is headsy, though. So she plays the game. She watches defenses. She's one step ahead of when someone puts the ball in play defensively. She doesn't take a break. So she's just someone that is exciting to watch because she's on all the time.
When she's on third base, are you more willing as a staff to send her if it's sort of a 50-50 situation on a pass ball or, you know, a grounder or something?
Well, the funny thing about your statement is that you assume that we send her, but for the most part, Reagan has a mind of her own, and great base runners do, right? Great base runners, if they've waited for a coach to tell them what to do, it's too late. And we trust her instincts completely, and she proved that right away from the very first, I don't know if it was game, but very first tournament of the year, her freshman year, that she had great instincts, and she could really just push runs across the board, much needed runs, and in very big moments. So I would never want her to think twice about those instincts and never want to control that. And that's someone you kind of let go, because she understands the importance of, hey, I can't make the last out here, or, you know, when to kind of be cautious. But for the most part, she's going to trust her gut, and I'm very okay with that.
Your infield is going to be a lot of new faces this year. It looked like Jenna might be the go-to at third, but first there were a lot of changes, and second maybe Logan, but it looked like there's some shifting there. So what is it looking like? And we know Taylor, but everyone else.
Well, I would say we have a good problem in our inner squads right now because people are hitting. And I think offensively, it's going to depend on what the best unit looks like. We also have some options with pitchers who hit. You know, Miranda's hitting well, Devin's hitting well. So that keeps a lot of interesting combinations and fun stuff that we can do with the lineup live. So it's really just seeing what kind of combination works best defensively and offensively for the day. It could be matchup based according to who we think we're going to face in the circle. So yeah, I think the great thing is we have so much more depth than we've had in the last couple years, to where we can move people around and really feel good about it. You know, I can remember 5 infielders walking in for 4 spots last year, and you know, Taylor went through some injury stuff last year, so being able to kind of keep people fresh is a huge thing. But yeah, it's going to be who's hitting at the end of the day, and when the lights turn on, who performs.
Devin back. She sat out all last year and she watched you guys play. What are you seeing from her now mentally as well as physically?
Well, I mean, anytime you put a competitor on the bench, they're just ready to be back in the action. And I saw that from her, I saw that from Rye, a little bit from Sid, and man, it's just, they're just waiting for this moment, waiting for Thursday, as is our whole team, for someone to be in the other dugout. But she's just a competitor. I mean, you guys see the fire when she's on the mound, the fire when she's in the batter's box. So that's been fun to have back, because I know that spreads like wildfire throughout our team.
Obviously, just to kind of follow on what you were saying about the rivalry and scheduling Pac-12, or former Pac-12 teams, with the history of Arizona and UCLA, much like basketball on the softball side as well, do you anticipate a 3-game series with them at some point in the future in non-conference?
Potentially. It's tough when we schedule, because, you know, to get to our max amount of games, it's hard to play a 3-game series. You kind of have to play 4, 5, 6 games in a weekend to kind of get to that max. We don't have a lot of travel partners that come to us midweek, so there's a lot of logistics stuff that goes into that. So yes, the relationship is what we want to keep going. I'm not sure, it's yet to be determined on, you know, if our bye weekends match up. That would be an ideal situation, but we do have to keep these pre-conference to, you know, 4 to 6 games, and usually we're in the 5 or 6 game territory.
Anything else? Good. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.